Howdy my hearties. I want you to picture a wall. Now stop that, because I've already drawn this picture for you. Imagine that every brick on this wall was a person, and that they chose to be a part of this wall. Well, each brick isn't that special. They have their own shades and indents, but they're pretty much all the same. Each brick has 6 bricks surrounding them. Some of these bricks rely on it to be held up, while others rely on it to be held down. Let's say that this brick in the centre got bored of its job and decided to leave. Well, how does that affect the bricks around it? Not very much, it would seem. The 2 bricks above have lost one of their supports, but they're still held in place and fine and just send their forces down the adjacent bricks. The adjacent bricks don't care that much. They've got a bit more load on them, but nothing they can't handle. The bricks below have a little less weight to carry, so it's great for them. The whole wall is still standing and fine, except for this tiny little hole in it. But what if one of the adjacent bricks decided they wanted to try something else as well? Well, now one of the top bricks falls down. This brick's actions causes the disadvantage of another brick, even though that other brick didn't want to leave its job. As it falls, it hits one of the bricks on the bottom. This brick initially was glad the first block left. It meant that it had less work to do, but now it suffers the consequences for another brick leaving. To further this example, let's say a third brick leaves. From this action, 2 bricks collapse. One which barely had any idea what was happening below him. Now there is a massive hole in our wall. How did 3 bricks cause the loss of 6 positions? But more importantly, whose fault was this? Was it the first brick, who left because he was bored, even though his actions did not directly cause the resulting destruction? Or was it the second brick, who was only doing the same thing as the first? Why shouldn't he get the same right to do the action? Or the third brick, who saw the consequences of leaving and chose to do it anyway? If the third brick was the one to leave first, then as the first, his actions would have had no impact at all. Let's have a look at a few more examples. Imagine this work roster where there are employees Lazia, Bazza, and Shazza. They try to have a person on each day of the week. This normally means they rotate through each other, getting 4 to 5 days off. But this week, Laz is being lazy and decides to take the whole week off to watch YouTube. Now the others have to compensate by taking more shifts, only getting 3 to 4 days off. Yeah, it's not much of a change, but it's still something. However, when Shazza decides to get married this week, Bazza suddenly does not have a single day off, having to work every single shift. Is it Laz's fault for being lazy, even though him not being there wasn't actually that bad? Or was it Shaz's fault for leaving when the work was urgent to have a wedding? For another real-world example, our 3 characters are renting a share house. The house costs $60 a week, and they all decide to put in $20 each. However, Shazza is now married, and decided to move into a new home with her husband. The boys now have to split the rent 30-30, a little bit more than before, but not too bad. Bazza has worked every day this week, and now makes enough that he's going to pay his own rent, and moves out. Laz's rent suddenly doubles from 30 all the way to 60, 3 times the previous increase he had before. It's clear these effects appear exponential. As more people or items are removed, the greater the effects are of each loss. So the answer to the question of which brick was at fault, it's actually all of them. The fault starts at the first brick. Through the first brick leaving, though in that instance it does no damage, it opens up the wall to the potential of failure. It increases the risk. So, what do we do to solve this? What do we do to make this brick not leave? Well, back to the wall. Each brick exerts pressure onto the bricks around it. Through this, they are pressuring each other to not have the opportunity to go because they are pressured into doing the job for the good of the whole. To have perfect security, it means all the civilians would have to have no choice at all. You can probably see situations in your life where by removing your brick, it puts risk onto others. And with this new knowledge, you can look at dangerous actions and see how, even though your choice wouldn't do any direct damage, it could allow for other damage to happen afterwards. Ahoy, y'all.